Hello Seekers! Are you ready to get maledicted? Malediction's deck building was just released within card.io, and to test that we are going to deck build Sigrith, or Sigrith if you ask Thiago, right? Sigrith is the powerful paladin from the Order of the Shattered Throne. She excels in defense and survivability. Her allies do not fear death. She is the Seeker with the best defense, at least for now. So first, let's take a look at her card. Sigrith has a 5 accuracy, 5 damage, 15 armor and 18 HP, which makes her very reliable on her defense side. She can outlive most enemies with 18 HP and has a very constant and decent accuracy and damage, right? Besides that, her abilities are also very powerful. She can smite her foes when they are nearby, which is specifically good because it gives her 2+ accuracy, right? So it makes it easier for her to land her strikes, and 5 more damage. So it's basically 2 hits in one, especially good against allies with resistance. She also can heal allies or herself by 3, which is a very good amount of HP to heal for just 1 AP, right? And every single ally within 6 inches of her get 1 armor bonus. And note that because the name of the ability is different, it stacks with Shield Wall, which is a very common ability within the order, right? And she's not alone, right? She has also Endervos, her shield, which is actually an artifact she found in the world, but I'll let you guys read the lore for that later. Endervos makes her gameplay work brilliantly, because every time your ally gets attacked by an enemy foe, you can discard a card and mitigate 3 of that damage. Costs no echo, you can discard any card you want and you prevent 3 damage. And if you prevent the whole damage, you can also retaliate that attack. Oh, wait a minute, it doesn't say retaliate, which means that you can combine that with riposte or even counterattack, which is awesome. Picture this, we have, for example, this little fellow over here. He has counterattack, right? Which means that if a unit, let's say this unit over here, attacks him and hits, it deals 3 damage. I can discard a card, make the counterattack, and since I prevented the whole damage, I can make another attack thanks to Endervos. Because it's hit back, let's call it that way, it's not a retaliation attack, okay? Stay with me until the end of the video, that I'm going to give you guys another insight on how to use it well. So basically, if you want to play Sigrith, you are going to rely on the best defenses in the game, slow and steady gameplay. You don't have to worry about too many swift spells or saving echo for specific maneuvers, because you have everything you need within your legacy and your seeker. And besides that, it's easier. It's a easier gameplay resource-wise, okay? Because since you can discard a card without spending anything to prevent damage, you don't have to make a lot of math to know how much echo you have to save for the next round and this kind of things, which is a very decent and honest gameplay, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's check the cards. But before that, since you are already here, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help me spread this content throughout the internet, okay? Now let's take a look at the cards she has for us. I am at card.io and I just started building a new deck. Let's select here the Order of the Shattered Throne, because we are dealing with Sigrith. She's a mono-faction seeker. And we have already here her legacy. We should add here. Let's find the seeker first. Lone Rail. Well, this deck building is not the best one, right guys? You should have read a filter the cards for the faction I selected, but it's my first look at it as well. Let's learn from it together. The order has some cards, like Answer the Call, that allows you to deploy units as reinforcement, even if your ally is engaged, and the most important part, during the action phase. So you can skip your deploy, let the game roll for a little bit, and then you make your specific unit as your deployment. It is a very good card, but it's not going to be used for this strategy specifically, okay? Since I already gave you the example, using Armored Revenant that has counterattack, and we can prevent damage, thus maybe making him make 2 retaliation attacks. We are going to use at least 2 of them. Let's go step by step. I just love Astar's Battlemaster. I think he's a very strong unit. I love the Onslaught ability, and his stats are also very decent. Well, I can't help, I can't pass on him, so we're going to use both cards. Let's keep moving on. For Sigrith, I'm going to use most of our units because I only have access to that field, right? But for spells, I'm going to prioritize most healing spells, you will understand me in a second, and a few unique cards that are too powerful to pass on. We also have our beloved crossbowman. He's very strong because you can make 1 attack only, but it's a potential 5/3 damage, so it's a seeker damage for our basic unit. And as I told you before, Endravul's ability allows you to make a counter attack, let's use the ability's name, against units without it being a retaliation. And besides that, differently from the specific abilities like riposte and counterattack, you can use it to make a ranged attack as a response of preventing the damage. Okay, so we can in fact make a ranged retribution attack using the legacy. That makes just the crossbowman more powerful, and we are definitely going to use all 3 of them. I'm going to put the units first and then we move to the spells, okay? We are surely going to use our beloved Herald because, well, one of our few unique units. She has protection, which is kind of the base of our deck. We can choose which unit is going to take damage, right? And Martyr's Blessing is also very useful. If, by an accident, the Herald dies, it is going to heal most of our units. So we're going to use those. Astar's Battlemaster, we are only going to use 2 of it because I much rather use, where is Three-Stone Defender. They pretty much do similar things, right? But Three-Stone Defender also has Ironclad, which is more powerful against ranged units, and has protection 2 instead of just 1 from the Astar's Knight. Okay? The Knight is important because it's a basic unit, it costs less, and whether you like it or not, it's 12 HP to use that protection, but I don't want to use 3 of it. Alright? Okay, we also have Hogarth. I have a really hard time not to use Hogarth in every single deck he is allowed to be. Okay? One of the strongest units in the game, very high accuracy, very high damage. Cleave is a superb ability, and Dash is just too strong in an 8 movement base unit. Well, that's one of our favorites. Let's see if I want to place anybody else. Have I put the Seeker? I have. Of course. We are almost forgetting the Priest. We are in fact going to use 3 of the priests, Bakari's Priest, because he's like a little engine for our deck. Okay? He has heal, which prevents my units to die very quickly. So for instance, somebody make a hit against a unit, I heal it for 2 damage and I pray. Pray is the engine for this deck because we need a lot of echo to place our units. You can check there that I have already 16 units. So my game plan is to have lots of activations on the board, so I can choose which allies are going to act first and move them in a block, okay, to take the most advantage from Sigrith's armor bonus and shield wall and whatever other abilities we might have. So we are going to use 3 for the Vakari's Priest, and that's pretty much close to the end. We are also going to use 2 of this Warfront Commander because we do want the inspiration, the inspired bonus. If we are going to plan to have lots of units on the battlefield, 1, we do want them to have more accuracy, and 2, most of our units are elite or basic, which means that with Battle Cry, I can make those units make an extra attack or take a better positioning in the battlefield. Okay? It looks like we have too many units. We are going to take some of them out of the deck, but let's place the spells first so we can see how many we need to remove. Okay? As weird as it seems, I don't usually use Ward of Valkyries, which is the damage prevention spell that the order has, but I don't use it because, think with me, Ward of Valkyries costs 3 echo and prevents 5 damage, okay? When I have right here, we have Healing Light, which costs 2 echo and heals 5 damage, so it's 1 less echo. And if I need to, I can discard it to prevent 3 damage. So it's a cheaper spell that prevents almost the same damage, but I can also use it later to heal my unit. So the way I see it, it's better to use all the healing spells instead of damage prevention spells. Most units that have like 5 damage or so, that we could prevent it using Ward of Valkyries, usually also use something to increase the damage. An item, a relic, or something like that. So most times we won't manage to prevent exactly 5 on a single attack. That's the way I see it. You are welcome to disagree. Let me know in the comments if you don't agree with that, but I'm not going to use Ward of Valkyries. Let's add the 3 healing lights here. Let me go from bottom to top, might be easier. We are going to use Shield of Underworlds because differently from 5, 10 damage prevents almost anything in the game, okay? So we are going to do this because we need to make sure the powerful attack that our enemy creates, we manage to prevent it. Do we have any other healing? We do. We have Rites of Healing, which recovers 10 health from one ally or 5 health from 3 different allies. Since we are using lots of protection units that have the ability to protect others, this split heal is just beautiful for us. So let's use it as well. What else do we have here? Rites of Healing we used already. Now we have one card that's very important for us, Enforced Balance. It's a unique card that basically our opponent has to discard his hand until he gets as many cards as we do. Since we can discard cards to prevent damage, we often get with few cards on our hand. So this specific card over here allows us to balance the game, right? At least, so to speak. So we are going to use this to make sure our opponent loses very precious resources. This card over here is very underestimated by most people, okay? The Decree of Valkyries allows you to return a unit, a non-seeker ally, to your hand and deploy at the same time without spending any echo another unit of the same rank or lower than it. It might look expensive for 6 echo, but I have the unpleasure to see how powerful it is. There was this one game when I was playing against Sigrith and I almost killed Horgath, okay? I let him with like 1 HP and I was almost close to the end of the round. I had like 3 units to activate yet. All 3 units had ranged attacks that could kill Horgath. My opponent only had 1 card in hand, okay? So I knew for sure that even if he prevented one of the attacks, I could kill Horgath with the second attack of any of my 3 other units. And I had in my hand a card that allowed me to make another attack. But I decided not to use because for me, Horgath was dead already, right? Well, that was a mistake. After I passed my turn, my opponent activated whatever unit he had left, was his last one, and used this card. When he used this card, he returned Horgath to his hand. And I lost, well, I didn't gain the 9 echo I could have gained if I had killed it. And not only that, but he dropped down the Herald in its place to keep up the fight. So he got another activation, a full unit, a unique unit in this case, right? And I lost the master I could have got. So this card, if used well, it's extremely powerful. Alright then, let's see what else do we have here. We have items, we don't use many items. Well, I guess actually we won't be using, we won't be removing many of our units. We can deal with 18, which is a huge number. I'm going to add 2 extra attacks. And I'm going to add as well, I don't like this one. I don't like to return the units to my hands. I'm going to use 1 copy of Rites of Might. This deals extra damage equal to the number of allies you have engaged with a given enemy. Sorry, with some enemy, okay? If I have on the battlefield 3 different battle focus with, say, 4 allies engaged, my unit is going to get 4 extra damage for his next attack. The unit is not like Swarm. The unit doesn't have to be engaged with those allies, okay? This card counts the number of allies I have engaged. So we're going to use 1 because sometimes we just need to do extra damage, right? Second wing, it's very good. I hope for our strategy that we never use it. If my enemy has more units than I do, I can refresh a unit. We can add it to our main deck because if it's not a game where we can use it, it's through a discardable card that we can prevent free damage, right? And we use this. Oh, I made a mistake. I meant to put Valor's command, not the answer the call. Let's remove answer the call. Great. And we also are going to use the items. Let's get the no faction here. For items, we basically want to place the Ring of Vitality. Since our strategy is based on survival, Regeneration 3 helps us to stay alive. And we are also going to put the Prayer Book. Why? Because it's another source for inspiration and it's another source for prey. We need that much echo, right? Because we have lots of units and we need all of them on the battlefield. So that's basically our deck. I didn't forget anything. We are at 30 cards. As for terrain, we are going to use the Staring Pathways because many units from the order, they have 5 movement or so. So it's important for us to reach the battle as soon as possible. So we're going to keep these ones. And that's our deck for today, for Sigrith. Let me give a name for this deck. How do we save here? What's the name? Well, it just saved, okay. Let's move to the other deck building options we have here just to see how it works. So we end up with 18 units, right? Most of them have low cost. We have basic units. So we are likely to place lots of them early, and we start with 25 echo because we are mono-faction seekers. So it should be okay to deploy our units, and we still have 10 spells to help us prevent damage, and 2 items to help our units to stay alive and to help us have the necessary echo to place everything we want. Sounds a very decent deck. I would like you guys to try it and let me know what you thought. The metrics, we can see that the costs for our cards are very low. Most of our deck is at most 4 echo to cast, so it helps us to keep the engine rolling, right? And probably here in settings I can give it a name. Good. Let's say Sigrith Maledicted, so you guys can find it later. That's mid-range if we want to. Constructive format. We don't have any order scenarios, so let's get this one and make it public and saved. Now you guys can go check it out on the Malediction deck building on cards.io and let me know what you thought about this one. There's just one more thing that I would like to share with you guys, because we don't have those on the deck builder, which are the relics, okay? I would like just a few words. I won't talk about every single relic, but just the ones that I think they are most useful for us. Everlasting Heart is very important, very useful, because as I said before, for Ring of Vitality, it allows our units to stay longer on the battlefield, right? Gives them more health, gives Regeneration 3, so it's very good for our strategy. Everkeep Reliquary is not the best one for Sigrith herself, but it does increase her armor, which is a main point, because if our opponent grazes us, it means it does less damage. If he does less damage, it means it's easier for us to prevent using our legacy, right? Besides that, the Reliquary allows you to trade it for any other relic on display. So we can take it now, make our attacks, and change it later if we need to. This relic, the Guardian's Aegis, is very good for Sigrith also, because shield wall stacks with her armor bonus. So basically every single unit nearby Sigrith gains 3 more defense, which is huge. And resistance 1 is also great, but it's not my favorite relic. It's better than most, but it's not my favorite one. I'm saving the best to the last. Reaper's Edge is as good for Sigrith as for any other melee seeker, right? 2 more damage is very good. SS Binder gives us extra echo to deploy our units. If we don't have any of the other relics that I mentioned, this is a great pick. Vengeance and Retribution. Our deck is specialized in healing units and prevent damage. This relic makes that every time somebody attacks us, we are going to hit back. And like I have said like 2 times already, the Unravel's ability to make an attack when we prevent damage is not a retaliation attack. Which means that, for example, if Sigrith has Vengeance and Retribution, every time she gets attacked, if the damage is up to 3, you can discard a card and makes 2 attacks against that enemy. That's huge, that's unfair, and that's why we love Vengeance and Retribution. And the last relic I'm going to talk about, it's a very unorthodox one, is the Trapjaw Chain. Trapjaw main purpose for this deck is to give Sigrith 6 range. But what for, you ask me? Well, when we use Endravos to prevent damage, Sigrith can make a ranged attack against that unit. If we are using the Trapjaw Chain, we have 6 range to do so, we can make a hit, we can pull the target, and we can do extra damage for our extra attack. Do you picture that? The enemy positions very well to make a ranged attack so he won't get hit back, but we not only hit back, we draw him closer, we do extra damage, and we position for when we activate, we can land other 2 strikes or even a smite against that unit. I just love Trapjaw Chain for my Sigrith, as you should, alright? Well guys, that's pretty much the video for today. I hope you have enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about this deck. I want to hear if you have tried it, how was your experience, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and keep tuned for our latest videos. Okay, Seekers? I see you later, have a good time!